Right now, George is walking into Winnipeg.
Mr. Cab Driver.
Coming to get it better?
Hang on.
Push it down? Yeah. Pull it up right from there.
Oh my God.
Not really. Well,
How do I zoom out?
There you go, buddy. Give her a shot. No.
I would now ask, pardon me, I'd like to now ask Dan Struthers, the Legislative Assistant to the Minister of Health, to come forward and bring greetings on behalf of the province of Manitoba.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone here today. I'm very pleased to be able to represent the Premier Gary Doer and Health Minister Dave Chomiak here today at what I think is a very, very good, very positive step in the whole fight towards better health care for everyone in our province and certainly throughout our country. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Gerard from the Manitoba Legislature and for you here too. I want to start by pointing out that organ and tissue donation is a very important health issue and one that our government does take very seriously. Our Minister of Health, Dave Chomiak, has asked the Manitoba Transplant Program to join forces with Manitoba Health and the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority to explore new avenues and make recommendations regarding organ and tissue donation in Manitoba. We know that one person's decision to become an organ and tissue donor can change the lives of up to 10 people. People like George Marcello. George received his second chance at life when he received his liver transplant, and look what he's been able to accomplish. George Marcello is to be commended for his work and his ongoing commitment to promoting organ and tissue donations all across Canada. On a personal note, George, a friend of mine in Dauphin, I represent Dauphin Roblin, a friend of mine and I shared some good times a couple of weeks ago at a Dauphin Kings hockey game. Without the generosity and the caring of someone who donated to my friend Mike, we wouldn't have been able to share that hockey game. For that, I and Mike and others are eternally grateful for the work that you're doing, the cause that you're promoting, and just on behalf of all of us, thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sam. I'd now ask Councillor Gord Steeves to come forward to bring greetings on behalf of the City of Winnipeg.
Honored guests, Mr. Gerard, it's good to see you. I'm putting my fellow councillors in bed with you there. It's my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of the Mayor and all of us here at City Hall to you, Mr. Marcello. It was truly a great day. I think it's incumbent upon us to express what a remarkable man you are. I understand in the past 225 days, as everyone knows, Mr. Marcello has been walking across Canada and trying to raise awareness about organ and tissue transplant donation, an issue that's so important and affects so many of us here in Winnipeg and in Manitoba. It certainly has raised my awareness, although I always consider this very important. I myself wasn't aware there were over 3,000 Canadians waiting for a kidney transplant and another, as I understand, 700 awaiting other vital organs. In Manitoba alone, as I understand it, There's 75 people who are ready, as we speak, waiting for a kidney transplant. And another 100 who are ready to go on that list. In terms of, and for a lung transplant, another 70. So I think that this is truly the type of thing that is great. Because it's the type of thing where I think that if we raise awareness of this type of thing, which myself by doing this, I believe it's the type of thing where people will, in fact, just by becoming more aware of it, they'll become more involved in the program. I think it's the type of thing that's really, really good for our society and to you in particular. It's a 500-day walk, as I understand. As you probably know, Mr. Marshall is a liver recipient himself. There's a very personal perspective to this crowd, and that's the inspiration of all of us, I think. Inspiration might be maybe too light of a word. Think about how each one of us on a day-to-day basis would deal with our minor aches and pains. Think of George, who has not only gone through this huge medical procedure, but has actually gone through it, and not only come back to a level of function on a day-to-day basis, but to come back to a level where you're undertaking this type of endeavor to walk across Canada is truly remarkable, and again, inspirational. It covers it, especially when you consider that most of us probably couldn't walk the same hotel. It's really remarkable. I understand George, you were once asked why, and to be honest, that question, when someone is walking across the Canadian prairies in the middle of the winter, that question is going to come up, I think. And I think that your response to that was, as I understand it, I wanted to say thank you to the donor and the donor's family for saving my life. This is a small sacrifice on my part for the precious gift. And I think those comments, to hear you say something, to say something like that, it must be a great feeling for the loved ones of the person who was the donor under these circumstances. I'm not going to pretend to understand what that must have been like for that family. It must be, for all families who go through that, it has to be something that I probably couldn't understand at this stage in my life, but it must be something that gives you a whole new perspective. For all those trying times that family must have went through, and you yourself, to have those people probably see you now, it probably gives them a measure of comfort, at least in some small way, makes up for the pain they have to go through. And I'm certain if they were to say so, they'd probably thank you. To not only have that person as spiritually with you, but physically with you is quite a thing. I think it goes to the line of giving, and how acts like this, the acts of kindness, these acts of giving, they keep going. I think the person by doing what they did for you, and you by doing what you're doing for everybody else, it goes to show you that it's not just bad acts in this world that are repeated and that go on and on and on. But the same sort of dynamic exists with positive things, these types of acts of kindness. And it truly is great. George, in the last little bit through the city of Winnipeg, we've come up with a new slogan for our city. And I'm obviously too busy to be a part of it, but the new slogan is "Embrace the Spirit." And here in Winnipeg, I think in that probably to a large extent, we consider ourselves a heart of salt. You've probably heard about Winnipeg and the spirit that Winnipeggers have. We're big on community, we're big on giving, we're big on volunteering. That's what we do here. We're kind of a smaller city in a huge area, and that's how we sort of deal with our harsh climate and the things that we're exposed to. And I think your timing is perfect, because your spirit and what you're doing is exactly the type of thing that we raise here in Winnipeg. So I think if a city is comprised of spirits, which of course it is, I can tell you that yours is certainly most welcome here in Winnipeg. I think on behalf of all those of us in the city of Winnipeg, we have a small token of our appreciation. If you would mind coming forward, we would like to not only wish you all the luck in your journey, I'm certain you'll be fine, but I think I speak on behalf of everyone. I hope the weather cooperates for you, because it has the capacity to turn bad. But congratulations, and please accept our sincere congratulations and thanks.
Thank you very much, Council. I'm so glad that George is with us today, because we are celebrating. I'm I'm so glad that George is with us today because we're celebrating his arrival by announcing the Manitoba Transplant Program's latest statistics. And I know you'll be so pleased to hear, George, that the year 2000 was extremely positive for those people who were listed in Manitoba for kidney and lung transplants. Last year, the Manitoba Transplant Program performed 46 kidney transplants, and there were also 10 lung transplants performed. That made our province's donor rate, based on per million population, more than doubled in 2000 to 17.4 donors per million. And that also meant that we exceeded the Canadian donor rate of 15.4, so it was a very positive year for transplant in Manitoba. The issue of organ and tissue donation and transplantation is one that touches many people in so many ways. Donor families make courageous decisions to allow their loved ones to become organ and tissue donors. Recipients wait for that second chance that this gift of life can bring. Living donors give selflessly of themselves to someone they love. There are so many stories of courage, of unsung heroes, of hope, love, and life. One of those incredible stories belongs to the man that you're about to meet, George Marcello. Today is day 225 since George began his Canada 500-day walk from Toronto, and coming to Manitoba also marks George's first time to the prairies. So I know you probably think it's really cold outside, George, but I hope that you're warmed by the support that you have received here today in Manitoba. Please welcome George Marcello.
Thank you, Sybil. Well, as a proud and very grateful and concerned, and I think a little crazy Canadian, I've undertaken to do this, and I'm going to probably veto what has been outwardly said by the speakers up here. It's because someone made a decision to donate their organs that I'm around today and that I'm able to do what I'm doing right now because of that decision. And this campaign, that's what it's all about. It's about bringing a very positive spirit to all Canadians from coast to coast about this very, very, very important decision. We're trying to reach all sectors of the country, all sectors of the communities. We've been in schools, we've been in churches, we've been in service clubs, we've been in shopping malls, we've been in car rallies. We practically go everywhere where we can find an audience to bring this very important message. And as a result of going from community to community and talking about this with many Canadians, we've been able to gather a lot of information from Canadians. And most of the Canadians that we're talking to do have a desire to donate their organs and are willing to donate their organs. So one of our messages is that we do have a country that the public is willing to make their donations. A lot of the public just isn't that informed on how to do it. So we need a massive scale of education and awareness throughout from coast to coast so that we can properly address all the issues and properly and put into effect all the things that need to be put. So we are calling on all three levels of government to continue or do more work and bring this subject to the forefront. I think that in the past it hasn't been brought to the forefront. And me as a person doing this walk, being there, being on that waiting list, having a family that was worrying about an organ arriving and feeling desperate, and as a witness to many people that have passed away, and as a witness to many organs that could have been used and weren't used, I think we need to really give this message out to all three levels of government, saying that this is an important cause and we need your attention and we need you to address this. There can't be anything more important than life. And life could be saved with donations. So we need our governments to put this to the forefront. I am so happy what's taking place here in Winnipeg today, because we feel that we're going to get a lot of attention with this cause as a result of what's happening and taking place here in Winnipeg today. So we feel that this won't be something that is not as important as other issues, and so therefore we have to deal with other more important issues. We need to bring this right to the forefront, and this is what I am doing from community to community, bringing it to the forefront. And last year when I walked around the province of Ontario, every community that I went to, I was screaming out Premier Harris's name to respond to this. And he's a pretty hard guy to listen, to respond to things. And you know what? In September of last year, he called me up and said, I've been watching what you've been doing, and I got so inspired by what you're doing that I want to acknowledge you for what you did in the throne speech. And more importantly, you inspired me to create the Premier's Advisory Board on organ and tissue donations, which presently they're taking some very positive steps. So this is what we want to do from province to province. We want to bring a very positive light to the public, and we also want to get the attention of all three levels of government so that we can do the best that we can in this country for those people on the waiting list. This isn't a one-man show by no means. I get all these wonderful things happen as a result of the work of many people that participate. I want to acknowledge my crew, my road crew that is going to be with me for the rest of the way, and that's another year. And we decided, and they decided along with me, so they're probably as crazy as I am, that we're not going to stop until we really see some good results in our country. So we were scheduled to stop in this time next year. Well, we're going to keep walking until we see a real change in our country. So at this point, I want to introduce my road crew. The fellow that's doing the camera work is Travis Martin, and he's from Fort Frances. The lady beside her is Miranda Avis, and she is also from Fort Frances. The fellow beside her is Brandon Morrison, and he is also from Fort Frances. And I'm calling them my Fort Frances connection because I actually weared out 5 different road crews since I've been on the road, and they came on board, and they're determined to stay with me all year, and they're representing youth, and I'm just so happy to have them on board. And last but not least is Dave, and I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I never get it right. And he is from Thunder Bay, and he's actually leaving tomorrow. He accompanied us from Thunder Bay, and he's been just a great help. So that's my road crew, and that's how I get things done. And at this point, I want to call up Miranda to come and help me to thank the many people that have made this possible, and that, you know, I know what we try and do is infect people, you know, infect people with a nice positive feeling so that we can make them do and join in and have them join us and do things with this area. So Miranda's here to just thank some of the people. We didn't have enough time to thank everybody, but we'll try our best to.
Hi. First, I'm just going to say the response we've had so far in Winnipeg has been unbelievable. The 4 of us in the Hummer have just been excited because you guys have just been awesome. And without these people that I'm going to thank right now, it'd be a lot harder to do this. They've donated rooms, food. They've donated pretty much everything for the cause, and I'm just going to list them now. do this. They've donated rooms, food. They've donated pretty much everything for the cause, and I'm just going to list them now. Franz Inn, Bill Buckles, he's been helping us out while we've been in Steinbach in Winnipeg. He's right there, he's a great guy. The RCMP, the mayor in Steinbach, Magnolia, it's a restaurant we stayed at, or we went and ate at. The McDonald's in Steinbach, Air Canada, Comfort Inn, Plaza Louis Riel, Winnipeg Police, Italian Culture Center, John Gerald, MLA, Royal Mint, Mayor Office, Premier's Office, Health Minister's Office, Deputy Minister Stan Struthers, Sybil Stokolov? Okay, I wasn't sure, sorry. Organ Transplant Coordinator. So with all these great help, just thanks very much.
Now, CalMair has contributed a ticket for us to send Dave back home to Thunder Bay, where there's his family waiting for him. So you want to come up here and grab your ticket? And also, I think we have a representative from the Italian Cultural Center here.
My name is Vincent DeLuca. I'm the president of the Italian Canadian League of Manitoba, and I am here. Firstly, let me say how proud I am to be here representing the Italian community and the Italian Cultural Center and the Italian League of Manitoba. I would like to congratulate Mr. Marcello on what he's doing because he's bringing forth some issues that we in the general public may not know, and this is important for us to get to know about this transplant, the Organ Transplant Association. I'm here also to let Mr. Marcello know that we have 6 associations in the Italian community that have contributed a total of $1,200, and I'm here to present it to him by just the letter, not the money just yet, because we have something planned for Mr. Marcello at the Centro Capoto Center, 1055 Wilkes Avenue, February the 2nd at 7 p.m., and that's when we will donate, we'll give him the check. Again, Mr. Marcello, congratulations, and thank you very much for everything you're doing for us.
And I want to also give a special mention to Sybil Stokolov for helping to coordinate and organize this very well-organized press conference. Thank you, Sybil. And, oh, sorry. And last but not least, I want to thank Bill Buckles, who has, he has gotten affected big time. He's from Winnipeg, and I you know, got to know Bill on the phone about 2 months ago, and he is just going non-stop, helping to coordinate, organize, create things, fax things, email things, work on the website. He's doing all that stuff for us in Manitoba, and thank you so much, Bill. Thank you. And just to wrap up, I'm going to be staying in Winnipeg until February the morning of the 6th. I'm back on the road. I'm hoping to get a chance one day just to kind of feel like a tourist and do some sightseeing, you know. I don't know if I got such a busy schedule, I don't know if I'm allowed. But tomorrow I'm meeting with the Archbishop, and we have some very ambitious plans there. We're going to try and arrange a visit with the Pope. When I reach Victoria on July 27th, we're hoping to coordinate things with the military, and we'll hitch a ride with them, and they'll drop us off at Rome first, where we're going to try and secure an audience with the Pope. And then afterwards get dropped off at London and try and secure an audience with the Queen. So we got 2 heavyweights there. If we can get them, if we can get this thing going, and you know, if you can see it, you can achieve it. you know, the philosophy I've been going by. And then we're going to get dropped off at St. John's, Newfoundland, where we're going to continue the walk. But so tomorrow's going to be a very important meeting. And also on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, I'm going to be meeting with the Justice Minister, Gord McIntosh. And there's several things that we're going to talk about, and I think we're presently trying to arrange something with the Health Ministry too. I want to try and give my report on all the information that we've gathered since I've been on the road. I've become like a human data bank with this. I eat, drink, and sleep the stuff, you know, and there's just a lot of information that we want to convey. So with that, I want to also extend a really hearty thanks to the Winnipeg Police Department for such an incredible escort. We call that one of our meat and potatoes of the operation when we're coming in through the town with carrying the torch, which the MP, or the MLA, sorry, you were an MP at one time though, right? Okay. The MLA, John Gerard, helped carry the torch along with Bill. But we come through the cities and going through the streets and capturing the people saying, what's going on? What's going on? Well, they're going to find out through all these great news coverage that people are bringing forth here today. They're going to find out, you know, it's about organ donations, and it's going to make people think about it, you know, and that's what it's all about. We're trying to go from community to community, planting a very positive seed so that we can get people to think about it, and we can inspire government officials, and as a result, the winners are going to be the people on the waiting list as a result of all that. So once again, thank you for all coming here, and we still got a bit of ways to go. We're going to end up at the Garden of Life at 4:30, right? Yeah. Who's my? Oh, Bill. Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. So thank you very much.
That ends the formal part of our ceremony.
Incredible courage. Thanks for the opportunity to read it.
Thank you for receiving me.
The battle board. All right. And really nice to
nice to
see
meet
people
you.
involved. This is great. Take care. And see you in the news. Yeah. Great. And thank you, Bill, for all the work we did leading up to this. I'm going to keep in touch.
Nice to meet you, Jim.
Appreciate the chance to
make contact. To the merger that they're, okay, yeah. In fact,
Move a lawsuit. We'll probably get in contact. Did I get one of, oh, you gave me one of those?
I gave you that, but I should give you a card, actually, if I had one.
bank issue, in particular,
Although
the
my,
number of closures in our riding.
So you know my my Ottawa office. The phone number's
Can you step by step? We're going to perhaps later on during the evening talk a little more about this whole thing, and George will tell us in more specific details what the purpose of his voyage is. In the meantime, I think that most of us are hungry, and we're going to have supper. And we're going to ask George's table to help themselves first. It's going to be served buffet style. There aren't too many tables here, so we're not going to fight on the order in which we're going to serve. It's 1, 2, 3, and Carmen Coppola is just joining us from CKJS. So Carmen, maybe you can squeeze at this table too. So have a good supper, and then we'll talk a little more later. Okay? I received a call from George last Friday, I think it was, Friday morning, when he was in Kenora. And from there, he explained to me what he was trying to do, what he had done from Toronto to Kenora. And he also explained to me what would have happened in Winnipeg starting last Tuesday. And so when I found out about this, I made a few calls, and we were able to put together something for George and his cause. And a pledge was presented at City Hall on last Tuesday at 1 o'clock, where George met representatives from the mayor's office and the premier's office and the media. And the pledge was presented by Vince DeLuca, the president of the league, on behalf of 6 contributing groups. And George, we have here representatives for these 6 groups, so I want you to be aware of who they are. We have Lino and Grazia Lutigliano, who are representing the Sons of Italy group here in Winnipeg. We have Dean Scaletta and Anna Dell'Acqua, who represent the Dante Alighieri Cultural Society. We have Mr. Frank and Mrs. Assunta De Luca. They represent one of the most successful establishments in the food industry in Winnipeg. We have at that table, well, Vincent, and you have already met him. Yeah. Vincent is the president of the Italian Canadian League of Manitoba, and his wife, Raylene, is here. And we also have Erminio Caligiuri, who I guess is here in a double capacity as vice president of the Italian Canadian Center here, Centro Caboto, and also president of the Italian Canadian Foundation, and Adriano Lombardini, who is vice president of the Italian Foundation. And we also have the honor and the pleasure of having two good friends of Adriana over here tonight for supper. Thanks for coming. So just to let you know that the pledge is now translated into actual money, and I am pleased to present you with this envelope, which contains the $1,200. And maybe before you do officially what you want to do, I'd like to ask Vince De Luca to come and say a few words. Oh, after he takes the picture.
Actually, maybe I'll get one of those.
Yeah. Vince?
We're just going to take one more picture.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm the picture taker.
Oh, okay.
I'm not as good as him, though.
You want to make it official?
Yeah. That was broken.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mario. First of all, let me again congratulate you for what you're doing for a fantastic cause that you've taken a tremendous undertaking. Ti voglio dire che noi italiani siamo molto orgogliosi che uno dei nostri fa questo che stai facendo tu. È una cosa proprio di orgoglio. I want to thank you for doing what you're doing, as I said, and as I told you there at the City Hall, I only had the pledge. I didn't have the money. So now you have the money, and to that I want to add my own contribution to your cause. Welcome to Winnipeg, and continue the fantastic work that you're doing. Thank you.
My turn?
Sure, that's your turn.
I want to really thank everybody for coming out here and making this wonderful contribution to us. It was very much needed too, because we were actually down to our last penny. We were adding up all our expenses and everything, and we really needed this to you know, meet our expenses and to keep things alive. So it was very timely that it came across. And I want to thank you for the wonderful food that we had. And when I'm speaking on behalf of my road crew also.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you know, to break bread with you and you know, to enjoy a wonderful meal. And I've had the opportunity to attend many Italian communities since I've been on the road, from Toronto when we started on June 20th, and going through Hamilton and St. Catharines and Niagara Falls and Windsor and Sarnia, and there's so many vibrant Italian communities, and I was welcomed into every Italian community, and it was able to break bread, you know, at centers similar to this, and every time I attend these communities, I start remembering my mom, who passed away, and then God bless her soul, 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, she fell sick with a heart attack and had to be rushed to the hospital. And She was on her dying bed for a month and a half, and the family went through a really hard ordeal, hoping that she was going to come out of it and survive, but unfortunately she didn't. But while I was there, I was able to let her know about this trip that I was planning to do across Canada, and you know, I was telling her all the things that I was hoping to accomplish, and you know, when I first started the kickoff on June 20th in Toronto, she was with me, and as I was going through every community, every Italian community, she was with me, and you know, I just know that she would be very, very proud of what I'm doing today, and I'm doing it in her memory. It's in my heart, and you know, I think she'll be especially proud. We're making arrangements to go see the Pope when we reach Victoria. We're arranging with the military to jump on a plane and to make a stop in Rome and get an audience with the Pope and have the Pope come out and proclaim once again that on behalf of the Vatican he supports organ donations, and we're sure that it's going to have a strong impact on the 1 billion Roman Catholics around the world. You know, and then of course we're going to continue, because we're going to get dropped off at St. John's, Newfoundland, and then continue going through the Maritimes and back to Toronto, where we'll probably finish at around 2002 of January. So, you know, we got quite the road ahead of us still. So, you know, I think of my mom all the time, every day, but especially when I come to communities, the Italian community, and that's why I make it a real point to try and contact all the Italian communities as I'm going from community to community. And I just never knew there was this many Italians, and you know, I thought they were all living in Toronto. there's so many Italians throughout Ontario, and then I thought I'd seen my last Italian in Thunder Bay, and then they told me, no, there's more in Winnipeg. So we're going to continue to you know, attend every Italian community throughout the walk, and actually, you know, I'm doing this as a very, very proud Canadian, grateful Canadian, and you know, but I'm just as proud as for my Italian heritage. You know, I try not to boast about it, but you know, we all have that prideness with our culture, and you know, you know, I'm just as proud of being an Italian as I am Canadian. And I actually had the pleasure of meeting Daryl Fox a couple of years ago. My cousin, who's a barber, was cutting his hair. He was a customer of my cousin Frank, and pleasure of meeting Daryl Fox a couple of years ago. My cousin, who's a barber, was cutting his hair. He was a customer of my cousin Frank, and Frank told Daryl what I was doing, what I was up to, and Daryl wanted to meet me. And that was a couple of years ago before I began my walk. And I met with him and I told him everything that I was doing, and he was so excited because it reminded him what Terry was trying to accomplish. And he made it a point for me to visit him every week after that, just to give him an update on you know, and I did that right up to the kickoff. And I was doing a lot of shows on the Chin program. I don't know if you're familiar with Johnny Lombardi. Yeah, they were helping us to promote this walk, and we did many shows there. And after a while, I was being called the Italian Fox on Italian Terry Fox on that show, and so I didn't want to get in any trouble. So I went to Daryl to tell him that, you know, I was being called the Italian Terry Fox. Is that okay with you? And he said, of course it is. I'd be very honored for you to be called the Italian Terry Fox. So it kind of led the way in the future for the Italian Terry Fox, that he's coming through every community. And I was certainly infected by what he did, you know. And if we can capture the same spirit that he captured, we're going to make a real difference in Canada. You know, we're going to be able to save a lot of people's lives. You know, Right now, Canada is the lowest when it comes to our rate of donations. And, you know, there's 4,000 people on the waiting list presently that are depending on organs to be available. And our country has not been educated and aware enough about this situation. And, you know, we need this to change because other countries are doing very well in their respective places. Spain, for example, has a 70% success rate of people receiving organs when they're on the waiting list. You know, and that's pretty optimistic. So when anybody gets sick in Spain, whether it's a lung disease, a heart disease, or they need a new kidney or liver, it's a pretty optimistic scenario that, you know, an organ will become available. And, you know, transplants are a cure. Like I'm a walking testimonial for that, because 5 years ago I was rushed to the hospital and I needed a new liver because my liver failed on me. And I had a couple of days left to live at that point, and so I'm very fortunate to have gotten an organ. But I met a lot of other people that were on the waiting list that passed away. You know, they didn't have the same fortune as I did. So, you know, what I'm trying to promote is the spirit of giving. You know, it took a family to make that decision of donating the organs when they lost their loved one. And they did that when they were approached, and because of that decision, 6 people's lives were saved, and I was one of them. So I want to acknowledge that act, that contribution, and I want to try and affect, along with my crew. When I'm speaking of, you know, when I say I mean my crew, because they have to, they're going to be with me all year. And you know, and they're going to be going through all the highs and lows of this campaign, you know, and they're going to know, and they know what it's about already, and they're going to understand even more of you know, why we're doing this as we're going along. But the idea is to give those 4,000 people on the waiting list a fighting chance to live. Because those families right now, those individuals that are on the waiting list, are living very desperately. You know, they're living with a short time on their hands, and the only means of surviving will be an organ that might become available. So what we're doing is we're doing everything we can to give them a fighting chance to survive. And we're doing that by going from community to community and promoting a very high-spirited, positive message. You know, when they see somebody that received an organ and he's walking across Canada, I think automatically they'll think, well, transplants must work then, you know. So right off the bat, we got a good positive signal. And you know, after that, we try and make people aware of the situation in Canada and how we can change it to make it better. And we're also trying to reach the government so that the government can start doing a little bit more. We haven't done enough in our country, and we're rallying as many government officials as possible. We're trying to reach all 3 levels of government: the municipal government, the provincial governments, and the federal government, so that they can make this a priority in their health issues and in their mandates. And you know, we let them know that there can't be anything more important than life. You know, the economy and all that other stuff could fall into place, but if we don't have our health, what good is all the rest of the stuff? You know, so we're trying to promote that, and we're getting a lot of good response. So I'm going to remember this day because we were broke, and you guys helped us out to keep this thing alive. You know, and it's a series of this kind of giving that's going to help make this a successful campaign. So on behalf of my crew and myself, I want to say a really heartfelt thank you. Thank you. nicer out today than a couple of days ago. It was pretty cold. I had to walk a couple of days ago when it was really, really cold. And one thing I learned from that is that I better dress a little bit warmer next time. So did you understand what the lady was telling you a little bit earlier?
Not really, not that.
A little bit.
Okay, well, I started a walk across Canada in Toronto on June 20th, and everybody knows where Toronto is, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah.
You guys used to have the Winnipeg Jets here. You
Yeah.
remember that? Yeah. You wish you could get them back?
No. Yes.
In '92, I found out that there was something terribly wrong in my blood, and I had to go check it further with a specialist. Then I was diagnosed with terminal liver disease. And, you know, I was feeling really good at that point, too, but apparently there was a virus that entered my body when I was a teenager and I fell asleep and just decided to wake up, you know, in '92. So what they told me at that point was that I only had a couple of years left to live and there was no treatment, and my only hope was a transplant, a liver transplant. So I found out that Canada had the lowest rate in organ transplants, and so the odds were against me and everything. So I had to make my preparations and accept this whole thing, you know. So in '95, I was rushed to the hospital with liver failure, complete liver failure, and I was told I only had 2 days left to live. And, you know, that point really looked like the odds were against me. Then the next day, an organ became available, and, you know, that was because someone passed away, and the family made that incredible and unselfish decision. And it saved my life and 5 others. So when I woke up after the surgery, I wanted to get out of that hospital to thank this family. And I got out of the hospital pretty quick in 10 days. In 3 months, I was back in the gym, and my health just came back to me. And so part of my personal journey here is to say thank you to that family, you know, for saving my life. Any other questions?
So you must have to take, you still take drugs?
Yeah, there's anti-rejection drugs. Yeah, and once upon a time, when they first started doing transplants, the success rate of the transplants weren't too long. You know, there was only like a 3-4 months extension, and that was because we didn't have the right drugs. We have cures now with the drugs that are developed. Anytime you put something foreign in your body looks at it as an enemy, so it attacks it. Right? What these new anti-rejection drugs do is they hold the immune system at bay, and your body slowly starts accepting the new organ.
So I have a question for you guys now. Do you understand what an organ donation is?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, so did we get a message from this today?
Yep.
Now, I was going to ask something, and I know we never bring money to the school because we usually have our lunch. But like George said, usually they just try to do their trip with whatever funds we can raise for them. So, today, before you go, you can stop by the office. You can any change at all. Doesn't have to be a lot. Whatever you guys have, leave it with me, and I'll give it to George tomorrow when I see him at church. Right?
Yeah, thanks.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Okay.
I also want to leave you.
Grazie.
Thank you.